In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. But before we begin, you guys could please like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. It really does help grow the channel, gets the word out there, guys. So without further ado, Cash Kraus, here he is. Oh, there we go. Pulling it in.
Like Darth Vader's helmet.
Yes. Absolutely.
When he sits, remember he only sleeps in that weird globe thing?
Yeah, can't be the most comfortable thing.
Well, the man can't breathe.
That is true. He has to sit up while he sleeps.
Severe asthma, which will happen when you
I would say
breathe
sleep
in
apnea as well.
magma fumes on,
Needs a machine.
what's it, Musafar? Whatever.
Mustafar,
Mustafar, yeah. See, we know.
Oh, we
know Star Wars
our
stuff.
Star Wars lore. Are you kidding me?
I usually don't like to introduce, or I don't usually like to start out with Star Wars stuff because we get in a dance.
Because we have enough of it around the studio,
my mistake,
too.
But we're not doing a Star Wars film. Has absolutely nothing to do with the film we are doing. I couldn't imagine a film more opposite of Star Wars.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yes.
One has nothing to do with space at all.
No.
But
It does have to do with the supernatural, however.
Yeah, but this Star Wars supernatural.
Force ghosts?
Well, that's science now, though, because midichlorians, remember?
That's right.
If you can track it, it's science.
It's true.
If you can literally take a blood test and explain that guy's going to be a Jedi, then you can explain Force
We
ghosts.
had Qui-Gon tell us all about it, so.
Forcefully so.
Yeah, to a little child Anakin.
We didn't want it. We did not want that information.
No, we didn't.
But we got it nonetheless, and we're better for
And
it.
therefore, it's canon.
Unfortunately. But no, we are talking about a new movie Monday today, an actual new movie.
Which is nice.
It is nice.
We actually had to go out and rent this film.
We did.
Could not find
Old
it in
school.
theaters, however, but it was nice.
Even if it wasn't COVID going on, I still think you'd probably have trouble finding this film in theaters. It's a very small.
Yeah, very small. But this is the first horror film we've reviewed in a long time. I can't even think of the last one we did.
I know. Horror films?
Yeah.
The Wailing?
I guess, yeah. But even then, that was 4 or 5 months ago.
That was a while ago,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was.
And a similar film as well.
Yeah,
As
in
it
some ways,
deals
yeah.
with folklore and whatnot. We are reviewing today a new Blumhouse film, I guess. It is technically Blumhouse.
It is.
We are reviewing The Vigil. Yes, an IFC Midnight film also, but
Yes.
executive produced by Jason Blum.
Yeah.
I think the richest man in the world at this point. He makes films for $4. They make $30 million each time.
Well, that's a beautiful thing about horror is, you can have a $1.8 million budget, turn around and make $20-30 million very easily.
It's the perfect, even if you're not just a horror director, a horror-driven director, and that's just all you want to do. It is a perfect genre film to do for your first film because it's so cheap. People are willing to give you money for them, and it just kind of gets your foot in the door, like it did for, I'm sure, Keith Thomas, who this is, like I said, his first director. But I have a feeling he'll be getting more directorial jobs after this.
I think so. I think overall he did a really good job with this.
And once you're in the Blumhouse grind, they're just gonna keep giving you
they just
Conjurings
fucking
and
pump those films out like nothing.
So I think so it's a perfect. So even if you're not just want to do horror, as a director, it's a perfect first film to do because it's small budget, it's low stakes,
and it's primarily the entire thing is set in this little tiny house.
Yeah, super. I don't want to say easy, but yeah, that's the kind of film I would want to direct. I think I would direct a horror film first before anything else.
For sure.
But yeah, but it's easy to make a shitty horror film, which Keith Thomas did a very good job for his directorial debut. I definitely enjoyed it. It didn't break the mold for horror films, but I definitely enjoyed it. It had some great... One film I could say that maybe could have profited off a little more if it was just slightly longer.
Yeah.
This film didn't even break an hour and a half.
No, it did not. It's sitting at 89 minutes.
Yeah, I felt I'd rarely make this complaint that a film should be longer, but I thought maybe an extra 10 minutes in the middle or something to show just a little more of him really losing it. That's what I thought we needed a little more of.
And again, we always go to this, and it's kind of the cliche, but it's true. Like when you deal with a certain amount of trauma, it really does help bring the story alive.
Yes.
And I thought the story of him, being an Orthodox Jew, growing up in a very conservative community.
The most conservative.
Yes. It was...
if you don't know about Hasidic Jews, they are hard core.
I actually had a lot of interactions with them because my acting coach when I was a child in L.A., she lived right next to people who were Orthodox Jews. And like they dress this way. They were very conservative. They kind of mind their own business, do their own thing.
The biggest population is Williamsburg, New York, is where all like that huge that you always see, like movies and stuff. The guys with the very traditional, they are fucking hardcore. Very conservative, very strong gender roles. It's the kind of thing where it's like they'll it's all like pre-planned, your marriages and everything. You can't date outside of the religion or anything like that. No outsiders. Right. No outsiders are allowed at all.
I thought they did a good job of that too in the opening of this film when, he's very awkward with this girl. He Googles how to, initiate conversation with a girl. He had a problem like hugging because he's not used to hugging people.
Exactly, because they're so conservative.
Yeah.
And in that religion, it's like sex is only used for one thing.
And that's to reproduce.
Yeah, for family. So
outside of that, no pleasure.
No pleasure should be given. No.
None. You should not enjoy it. And if you do, you should punish yourself.
Exactly. And if you don't, we'll punish you for you.
Yes,
it's fucked up. But it's like a cult, but like any religion is like a cult. So it's just every religion though has these extremist branches. But if you don't know what the premise of the film is, it follows the actor Davy Davis. Great name.
Yeah, it's great.
Great name. But he is Yaakov Ronen, and he is a pretty recently he left the church. And now he's in like this support group. But like you said, he was in such as conservative that he doesn't know how to act outside of that group.
Right.
But he doesn't have any money because even in that group, like they take care of it, everyone. So he doesn't have any money. He doesn't know how to get a job or anything. He said he wrote down his application on a piece of paper.
Not the best thing to do. Does not look organized. Probably wouldn't hire you.
That looks a little crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
You just scribbling some
you gotta wonder what the
written
hell
in crayon.
Did this man go through?
But so he just left the church. He's in like a support group, and then an old friend or acquaintance from the church or the community asked him to perform a vigil. Yeah, and a vigil in Jewish communities. Go ahead, explain.
They call it what do they call it? It starts with an SH.
It's a
shuro or something like that.
A shamer.
Shamer, yes, shamer. But what those people do is they watch over the person who has passed.
The entire night.
Off, the entire night.
They can't leave the room.
Nope. To ward off like anything, they're supposed to defend the body so it can like move on.
Really, the whole thing is they're supposed to wait there until the funeral service can come and get the body. So really, they just don't want anyone to be alone, the body be alone all night until the funeral service can come. Which you think come during the night?
Yeah.
Why can't they come and get the body?
I don't know. And the thing is, too, I felt
But the body has to be in the ground.
Yeah.
So even if they came and put it in a mortuary or whatever, someone would still have to be with the person, with the body. It's wild.
Well, that was the thing with his Jewish friend who tried to like get him back into the Orthodox. He was losing my train of thought here. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, Reb Sholem?
That's his name, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he's trying to convince him to come back to the church. But what I didn't understand is he tried so hard to get this guy to be a shamer. Why not just do it yourself? Why pay some guy $400?
Because the whole thing was he needed this to get back into the church. Was like they wanted him to go through this process, and also it was the kind of thing where, in my mind, they knew something was very fucked up because he explains immediately that the guy was there like an hour ago, and he ran out. He was just scared. He said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I'd have to be pretty desperate for money.
One thing they did really well with this too is the entire film kind of kept me on the edge of my seat, not in the way that you would expect, but...
Well, they keep the tension throughout, for sure.
Yes, that's the thing,
tension.
but you always were expecting, especially I knew before I watched this film that Blumhouse had something to do with this, and I was like, man, I'm waiting for those jump scares, and it never really happened.
Yeah, there's a couple, but yeah, I didn't figure...
But it wasn't to where like every scene, like I was always looking in the back being like, when is she going to jump out? When is the shadow person
I didn't figure it would be that kind of film starting out. I've definitely figured it would be more Hereditary because I think this genre, they call this film a supernatural horror. I like to call these films folklore horror. Because I love those kinds of films that deal with, like Hereditary and Midsommar and The Ritual and The Wailing. I love those films that deal with like these ancient fucking spirits that are just pure evil. They're so evil that they create like this black hole around them that like literally cell signals don't get in, and like I really like that. Or like The Witch or something.
The Bly Manor too.
Yeah, so there's something that's really old and just ancient old, not like an old lady ghost, not like a nun that died, but this demon. This one's called Mazik, and then in Hereditary it's Payman. I love those really really ancient like
demons.
Because it makes a whole. It's like it becomes biblical at that point, where it's like we're not just fighting this nun that hung herself because she was sad. We're fighting this demon, and in this one it's Mizik is the demon, but this one, like most demon, it feeds off tragedies.
Yes. Oh, how about Tumbad as well? Another really good one to use.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tumbad was phenomenal.
Exactly. That's kind of, I love those kind of horror films. You don't get very many of them. No. But there's, I don't know why, there's so many folklore demons. There's so much good material out there. Yeah, that you could do a really cool scary movie. But yeah, I love them and this one was really good in that aspect. I love the demon, the backwards. Every demon's got to have some kind of niche, some kind of calling card. And this one, his face was on backwards. Super cool. Always looking in the past.
Ah, I see. Would make very hard to look forward though and to see what's in front of you. But hey.
But yeah, it was a very scary demon that was brought over to the United States, like it usually is. Latched on to someone who experienced great tragedy.
Which I did like that, with this Orthodox Jewish man and his wife, which had severe dementia, but, they were survivors of the Holocaust. And unfortunately, he had to do something very dramatic. Yeah,
which
that's how the demon attached itself.
Which isn't revealed to the very end, which I liked a lot. It showed at the very start that someone's shooting someone else, but I didn't know who these people. You don't know who these people are or how they're related or anyone. Then at the end, you get that it wasn't just a tragedy. Because at the first, you're thinking, man, it just latched onto him because he lives such a horrible life and he was in it. But it latched onto him because he had to do something really horrible, and it awoke him from the German forest, or where I assume all demons come from.
Right. The
scariest forest.
There's a lot of evil shit that was going on there just about 100 years ago. So, but yeah, it is a terrifying demon, and it's such a sad thing too, because like those stories are real. Like that kind of stuff actually did happen in Nazi Germany, and there are people who survived the Holocaust, survived these things, who have literally witnessed that and have reported upon that. Like the Nazi soldiers used to make Jewish people execute other Jewish people, and then but they felt like in some ways that they had to, because if not, they knew that their entire population could be wiped out. Yeah, or entire camp.
You know what it reminds me of is His House. Is that the Netflix?
Yes,
one?
His House. Yes, and I was going to bring that up.
Remember,
too.
That's another folklore demon where that's another one that fed off the tragedy. Where at first you're thinking it's just the tragedy of them escaping, but it ends up being the tragedy of them doing something very fucked up that gets this demon. Because remember, they had to take the girl and then push the girl, and then
the mom was running and she got shot, which is just horrific.
But that's another really good one that reminded me of that kind of where at first you're not sure is it a literal demon or is it just a metaphor for a great tragedy.
Yeah. And great grieving and
and like tragedy follows you around everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like an actual physical demon follow. This one I think ended up being a real demon.
And that, like, with films now that that is starting to come out more, like Hereditary, The Visual, His House, Tumbad. And I know Tumbad's a little bit different because it's in India, but it does make me very optimistic about the future of horror films. I feel like hopefully, and I know, and obviously debut directors more importantly, because His House was a debut director as well. Yeah. Remy Weeks directed that, and then we have Keith Thomas directing The Visual, excuse me. But it brings me a lot of optimism, dude. I'm really excited for horror films in the future, and people like Ari Aster who've just crushed horror.
It's.
I feel like we're kind of.
Hopefully a new wave of horror or something like that would be cool because the early 2000s was so bad for horror.
Awful.
We are bound to get. I mean, it goes in waves, right? We're bound to be going on at some point.
And I am glad that you bit the bullet on Wrong Turn because I would have expected that to be a good remake. And,
it was not. You would have hated it, trust me. But the original was so much better. But this film, getting back to this film, it does a great job of milking its very short runtime of like every scare you can get. You know, very short, but it does a very good job of packing this short runtime with a lot of scares. Yeah. And the sound design is fucking fantastic.
It's really
when
good.
those bones are breaking.
When he tries to leave the house and the dementia wife is like, you're not going to leave. You're going to be crawling back.
And you hear those bones snapping as it sounds fucking fun. Or at the end when the old man was writhing under the sheet and you could hear good sound design, really good sound design.
Even when he was dead? Yeah. That's an evil fucking demon, dude. I mean, hey, demons are evil, but
this one a little too much.
I did like I thought it was unique. I thought it was experimental when he goes into battle, right? And I want to say, and I don't know this for sure, but I want to say it's David versus Goliath. I got a lot of those kind of themes.
Davis versus Goliath.
There we go. But he's wrapping the I don't know what it is, like that leather thing around his hand to go to battle with the candle.
What those things are is those things are really, really kind of interesting. They're cool. They're leather straps that you wrap around. And then the boxes have parchment of like the Torah in it.
Yes.
So you wrap that around and then you can go. Usually it's for giving prayer. Sometimes I guess it's for fighting demons. It honestly looked like he was wearing a GoPro though.
That was cool. That would have been cool.
Like the first person experience of him fighting a demon.
That's a great promo to cut for GoPros.
Yeah, I
catch the action. You want to see some demons? Just strap this bad boy on your head.
Yeah, that is. No more jumping off mountains.
No.
Use the GoPro for something useful.
Demon fighting.
I want first person experience. But that was a really cool scene.
Stuff. When he was going through the tunnel and then everyone, or like these other demons are like pushing. And you get this claustrophobic feel.
A classic movie effect. Yes. Well, and just haunted houses. If you go to haunted houses a lot, it's where it's the sheet over the wall, the stretchy sheet where they can stretch your. It's cool. This one they really used it.
They used it a lot
for maybe a little too long. But what I really liked about this film was there was a lot of body horror elements, and I love body horror. It's things that make you feel like when he's first seen. Like remember he goes into the kitchen, he sees the legs, and then the foot starts dragging, and
the nails, God, I couldn't do that.
I know, that's why.
I don't know, it's so weird because like you can see like some of the most horrific deaths and it doesn't bug you.
And then the toenails
you see the toenail thing and you're like, yeah, that resonates with me. Like I get that. I know how that feels.
I'd rather be fucking stabbed my eyes with hot irons.
I had it happen to me one time.
I've had
not the full nail, but literally half.
Yeah, so
ripped off, and it's just it's
horrible. Yeah,
it's just the most.
Now imagine that being forced with someone forcing it on you, but that's what I love. I love the body horror elements because it does, and no matter what, that hits with everyone.
Oh, for sure.
No one is okay with that.
No, you don't watch that and have no emotions. If you do, you might want to go get checked out.
That was cool. Another thing, it was hitting really all my fears is when he was drinking. He was drinking water and he looked down and it was like pitch black, and then he pulls the fucking hair out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking gross, dude. I hate the feeling of just one hair in my mouth. let alone me having a fur ball of some demon's fucking hair.
And another thing too, I love the analogy of the cat and mouse. Obviously, that's classic. But you saw that a lot, especially when he was on the phone with his doctor.
Well, that's what I like about like the black hole elements, where it became like 1408.
Yeah.
When this demon was so fucking powerful that it was messing with everything. Like you couldn't make a call, you couldn't trust anything. You couldn't leave, and that's something that this film did so fucking great. It gave an answer to why you just can't leave the house.
Yep.
So many horror films, it's like walk
They
out the
don't do
front
that.
door.
When I had
walk out
that-
the goddamn door. I'd be
I
just
had
running.
that question for the first 20 minutes of this film, and then they answered it, and I go,
loved it.
Okay, that just made the film a million times better.
Yeah, so simple.
And
Such
it can
a simple
still
thing,
be supernatural. It can still like not make sense in our world, because obviously that wouldn't happen in our world, but it makes sense in the film of horror. So like that's all you got to do.
And he is like, I mean, you could almost say he's like, once you enter this house, you're in another dimension. I mean, the rules don't apply.
And
they set that up.
Dummy fell
and
asleep.
Yeah, I know that was
50 minutes.
that was creepy when the fucking
Video?
lady,
Yeah.
creepy old ladies, man. I love them. I just fucking love them. They're great.
God bless them. I'm sure they're fun on set, too.
Absolutely.
You know, because they're just cute little old women, and then they're playing demons.
Exactly. I love that, man. If I was an old lady, I would 100% be going for demon roles.
What was that famous scene of the old lady in the diner, and then she turns into like this fucking crazy thing, and they're shooting her on the
It's
ceiling?
not a famous movie, but
No, it's a famous scene,
The
though.
movie is Legion.
That's right,
Yeah.
Legion. Yep.
But yeah, I love little creepy old ladies, man. There's something just
They're
cool
fun.
about them. They're
Creepy
fun.
old women and children are fun too.
Yeah, creepy children I don't fuck with.
Right? It's not fun. Not as
That
much
is
fun.
not as
No.
fun for me. But yeah, she was great. This actually was her last role as an actress. She passed away not too long after that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
She's actually pretty.
that's
She's
sad.
actually pretty famous. Lynn Cohen is her name.
Yikes.
Yeah, she. I've seen her in ton. She was in Hunger Games.
Oh,
Yeah, she's in a lot.
okay,
She's in a lot of stuff. She did great in this.
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
passed away on Valentine's Day last year.
Yeah, that's too bad. A great movie though to end on. Look at her fucking filmography, dude. She's done like over 1,000 films.
That's just insane.
And she was working steadily up until her death.
Yeah, you could definitely say that.
Crazy. But yeah, she killed it. Very sad. She wasn't like pure evil or something. She had dealt with dementia, and her husband was.
When I think
a
dementia,
loon.
a lot to do with the demon in her house.
Yeah, most likely he was probably feeding off her, because the demon said if you don't, or the guy said, he said if you don't leave that first night, or no, you have to kill it the first night.
Yeah,
you
have
can't
to,
leave.
Yeah, you have to burn its face.
Yes.
Burn of its likeness,
true form or something like that? I
in
can't
its
remember what he said.
likeness before.
Which really
dawn.
it becomes, yeah. The whole thing we haven't talked about is this demon is attracted to this guy, Yakov, because he has Dave Davies, because he has a great tragedy also,
right.
A wild tragedy.
Sad.
Yeah, which it was kind of wild. Like, can you imagine just a group of guys just grabbing a kid?
I can, because there are a lot of anti-Semitic people out there.
Yeah,
And we have
yeah,
anti-Semitic people in leadership as well.
we have anti-Semitic basketball players, dude.
Right. Yeah. Or anti-Semitic
You're Myers Leonard.
Talk show hosts, where I'm just like, are you
Yeah, but
fucking
I
kidding me?
still, you're really risking just grabbing onto a kid. It's kidnapping. It's a huge,
Right.
It's a huge
I don't think
crime.
I think what the believable aspect of this was, I don't think those three guys grabbed the kid with the intention.
No, they're just gonna
of
fuck him.
killing
But
him.
still,
Right. It's still wild.
I mean, you get. I mean, it's more than just harassing. It's a lot of prison time.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you get caught.
For a minor? Oh, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, he has a great tragedy. He was this when he was with the church and with the culture and the community. He was walking. I don't know who
His little brother.
was his little brother, because he had
I'm
blonde
like
hair.
99% sure, because it just, and then that too, I like how the demon used that and manifested that. I like the sheet, a simple effect with blood kind of as the eyes, and then it disappears after he apologizes to it. 'Cause
That's the
again,
thing about this
demon's
movie.
Just constantly messing with
The
it.
thing about this movie, no CGI.
No, I don't think so. No,
I think
because even with the jump scares, they were
absolutely, yeah.
practical. They
And
were
even when
people.
remember when when he's really scared, he goes to the stairs and there's like a lady crawling up. He's like, what? I think he looks over and the old lady's
she's right there. I was like, oh, okay.
She's not scared of
hello.
anything. She sees this shit every day.
She's like, another day, another dollar.
You get used to this, my guy.
Yeah. Hey,
you
for
get
real.
used to this.
And you're going to be here a while, pal.
So you better
We're
get
not going anywhere.
But yeah, those scenes were all practical. Even the jump scare of the hands coming up when he was talking on the phone with the lady. Yeah, all practical. It was great. Even the demon at the end when his face was moving, I'm almost positive was just all camera work.
And that too, I like that quick little glimpse of the actual image of the demon.
You should
Very
never,
evil.
ever keep your monster on screen for more than half a second.
Nope. And I wanted to go back and just pause it and really just take a good look at the demon.
But that's what you want when you're making a film. You want people to go back and want to pause it and want to dive deeper into just one particular scene. Right. But yeah, that's how you use a monster or anything. It's just because the mystery is scarier than the actual monster.
Yes.
The fear of the unknown is much scarier than this actual faceless demon.
Right. And the fear of, like, we talk about folklore demons, but also trying to understand that this is an ancient being that has been around for thousands of years. How does this character, how does this protagonist overcome this demon? How does it defeat this demon?
Yeah.
And I think the journey of that too is really important for the story.
Well, the guy explains it right at the start when they're in the group meeting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you will never be free from that community until you get rid of your tragedy. That's how they're keeping you hooked. And that's exactly how he beat the demon at the end. He had to not get over, but he had to release the pain of the tragedy of his brother dying from those guys. Well, not really die. He ran into a
car.
Which is very good because it's so depressing. It's so fucking depressing and sad. It's so fucked up.
And this sounds like really fucked up, but as like if I were to make this film, I think one change I would have made drastically is in order to associate like mass trauma. And this sounds really fucked up, but again, like if I was a director in a film, for the best effect possible, this is how I would have done it. I would have had the child's body under the car and his head smashed in.
Yeah,
because that would have really shown. That's like an Ari Aster thing with the head decapitation in Hereditary.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where it's like that shock factor of seeing someone that you love, your brother that you care about, and then his head ran over by a car.
I know, but with that thing is once you start that, you got to keep that going throughout your entire film. You got to keep that level of brutality throughout and I don't feel like that's the kind of theme they wanted to keep throughout the entire film. They didn't want to keep it over the top brute because that happens throughout fucking Ari Aster's film.
It does. Yeah.
And but that's his style for sure. And I understand, and I get exactly what you're saying. You're right. That would have been a little more like, oh, Jesus. Yeah. But just knowing that it was.
That was the only part for me that fell a little short was. Yeah. I just saw him like holding the body and I'm like, I don't really see any blood. I don't see any damage.
Yeah. To be fair, he could have just broke his neck though. To be fair, his whole head might have not been exploded. That's true. I don't think he rolled under the tires, but yeah, you definitely could have. But yeah.
And did you notice no one got out of that car?
Well, it was for all I know, it was like a stop scene. That like time stopped.
Yeah. Like a flash, because it was a flashback.
It was a flash. So I mean, I'm sure the guys were. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people react after killing a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
I know how the kid reacted in Hereditary when, and he reacted in a very similar way.
Yeah, he just went to bed.
You're in shock at that point. Yeah. So really anything could happen. I mean, you could sit there, you could run, anything could really happen. But yeah, that was a very short scene though. That scene when it's like, you just see his feet and then immediately goes back. Cause it was when he was asleep, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. When he was having that dream when the lady came down and fucking molested him.
Brutal. Oh, I like this forehead here. This hair is nice.
I really like that. One more scene is I like when he calls the doctor. And you can know immediately it's a fake fuck. He's like a robot voice almost.
Yeah, but he manipulated
But it's again, that reminds me of 1408. Remember, like John Cusack, he's calling like his wife and she's like, oh, how are you doing? She's talking like with this monotone. It's so fucking creepy.
It is.
But yeah, he's like, it's so.
And then the doctor calls on the other line.
Yeah, that's good writing. Yeah, and then he calls. He's like, "What's going on?" And he sounds like a normal, much more.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a monotone
the
demon.
other guy's monotone demon just trying to fuck you up. But yeah, those demons, man, I don't like them one bit.
They're not fun to hang around.
I say, get them out of here. I don't want them.
I don't want any part of them.
I don't know why you're allowing this to go on.
I don't know.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
And the ending too. We got to talk about the ending because, of course, like every stereotypical horror film, we see the demon walk out of the house at the very end.
Yeah,
but not. It was blurred, but you saw the black figure walk out.
Yeah, well, you figure you can't really kill it. It only lays dormant until another great tragic, and now it's in the States, unfortunately. I would much rather it be
Someone's got to ship that bitch back to Germany. Let them deal with it.
Well, someone's got to bite the bullet.
They do.
Someone's got to have a great tragedy, have that
Get
demon
on a plane.
Then, which it's hard
Do you
to
pay for the plane ticket for the demon? Do you keep an open
It's
seat?
hard to travel after a great tragedy. Is the thing.
You don't really have the motivation.
Yeah, to hop on a 13-hour plane ride back to Germany.
Right.
But yeah, someone's got to do it.
Someone.
Because we can't have this demon here. Because there's a lot of tragedy in the States. That thing is probably just gluttonous, feeding off the tragedy. But yeah, the Vigil, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. Is there anything else? Would you recommend?
Absolutely.
It was good. It was good.
It was great. Yeah.
It was.
I enjoyed it.
Well, not the best film of all time. Not the best horror film.
No,
of
I
all
liked
time.
His House better than this.
I did too. I liked Hereditary.
But that
better,
doesn't mean I did not like.
No, this
film.
was
I
a
liked this one.
very good film, especially for a directorial debut.
Yeah, and the fact that the set piece was very simplistic, the story was simplistic. You knew what you were getting into right away. They executed it great.
The scares were simple but creative. Yeah. They were old scares, kind of done in a new way. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Alrighty, well, that is our review for The Vigil. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you guys want some Have You Seen It merch, like this shirt I'm wearing here. That?
Or this mug I'm drinking out.
It says, "Have you seen it?" Oh, let me get the camera over there. Oh, look at that! Beautiful. What a mug.
Oh,
wow,
vodka?
That sounded good.
That's pure vodka.
Yeah, you fucking finished that too.
Yeah.
Look at that. Are you
I did
kidding
not
me?
know you put
or
vodka in
what?
that.
Yeah, no, I did. Always keeping you loose as a goose on this podcast.
And I've been sober for 10 years.
You have been.
So
you just got your 10 years
good
sobriety
prank on
coin.
your part.
Yeah, hey, good
You
prank.
got me.
Next, I'm going to drug you.
You got me.
Stay tuned for when I drug Cash.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. And until next time.
Bye.